bones of the forearm. Now, of course, up here we have the humerus, and coming down here, the two bones of the forearm. Now, we have two bones, the radius and the ulna. Now, how do we know which is which? So let's back out here, and you can see here is the thumb. So on the thumb side would be the radius. And always think about radial pulse. Where do you take the radial pulse? You take it on the thumb side. So that's the side that the radius is. Okay, so we have radius and we have the ulna. Now it's interesting, of course, because we can do a few things with our forearm. And some of the things are we can, of course, flex at this joint, right? But with the forearm, I can change the position. I can go through processes called supination and pronation. I can do that. Now, what allows me to do that? And let's have a look. So I can rotate the forearm bones. Now, if you look carefully, look to see which bone is actually the one moving. This is the radius, and down here is the ulna. It's the radius. The radius is making that arc. It's following a radius, therefore the name, radius. Now let's zoom in and look at some of the features that we have. So if I come up here to the top of the radius, you see that I have this little wheel, and that's what allows for that rotation to occur. And I even have, now it's going to be hard to see because the bone's right there, but if you look in right underneath where that wheel is, there's actually a little hollowed out area on the ulna, and that is where that wheel rotates within it. Now, as we look at it, of course, this would be the head of the radius because it's the most proximal. Proximal means closer to the point of the origin. In this case, that would be the shoulder. It's closer than the far distal end. And then when I start to look at the ulna, you can see I have that hook. There's a hook right there, a bone that comes up and over. And that is the olecranon process. Now if I move to the front, okay, once again, that's the radius. Remember, I can always tell the radius because it has the wheel at the top. Here's the ulna. Here is the coronoid process right there. That's that little lip that is facing the anterior direction. Now if I go down to the bottom, if I look carefully, you can see down here there's a little bit of bone heading down here, and over here the same thing, a little bit of bone sticking down, and these are the two styloid processes. Okay, now if I was to try and assemble a skeleton, how would I know which is which? How do they go together? Because, if I'm trying to figure right or left, which one goes where? Well, remember that in the anatomical position, right, hands are forward, the palms of the hands are forward. The radius is the lateral bone. The ulna is the medial bone. And if I had to put them together, I can always tell how they would fit. Is because, of course, remember, the head here has a little area that it fits in up there. And also, if you notice, there is a sharp line that runs along the inner surface here of the radius, and there's a corresponding sharp line of bone on the ulna. Now, later on, we'll talk about why these exist in greater detail. But really what happens here is there's some connective tissue. Basically a big sheet of connective tissue that connects both these bones. And that does two things. It helps the bones from being pulled apart, so it gives some stability. And the other thing, think about our forearm. Most of the muscles that are in our forearm are about controlling my hands and what my hands do. And why are they in the forearm? Well, if I put them all in my hands would be the size of a pizza, and that just wouldn't work. So we have a lot of muscles, and we have a lot of muscles and tendons that are running through there. And so that sheet, the interosseous between the bone, that's what it means, interosseous membrane, helps to make sure that all the stuff, the arteries, the nerves, the veins, the muscles, the ligaments, the tendons that are supposed to be on this side and the ones that are supposed to be on that side don't get stuck as I do that rotation. All right, quick introduction to the two bones of the forearm.